So, I know I'm a bit late to the party on this. Okay, very late, but the Blu-ray was only released today here in the UK, so I waited for that. Anyway, so I just saw Willy's Wonderland, which, if you haven't heard of this film, it's basically the I Wanna Be a Five Nights at Freddy's film. And it clearly takes quite a few cues from the games. Now, I could be wrong, but this film. I've got quite a bit to say about this film. I might actually do a full blown review on it someday, but this is just my initial thoughts after just watching it. God, this film is an absolute mess. It really is a mess. It is very tonally inconsistent throughout, and yeah, there's a lot of plot points that don't really make much sense. And there are a couple of continuity errors as well in it. One of the examples early on in the film is Nicolas Cage in one shot has a bit of the strip of duct tape on his face that is covering up a cut that he gets about 20 minutes into the film. So, and that, so yeah, there's a couple of short little snippets like that, but this film, you know what? I'll say this for this film. It does exactly what it says on the tin. If you just want, to see Nicolas Cage beat the shit out of some animatronics, then that is exactly what you'll get out of this film. You won't really get much more than that, but that is what you'll get on this film, and it does deliver on that part. The only problem is that when Nicolas Cage does, destroy and beat the shit out of the animatronics, it is done in such a way that you cannot tell what the fuck is going on, because either the camera is constantly cutting or weaving about the place where you can't actually tell what on earth is happening, or it's done in such a way where you can only sort of briefly tell that he's meant to be hitting it. And also, it's a bit inconsistent. It's like Nicolas Cage is able to completely beat the shit out of these animatronics with no effort whatsoever, yet when other characters try, they just can't. They're not strong enough somehow. Yeah, it's a bit weird and inconsistent with that. Also, Nicolas Cage has no dialogue in this film. Yeah, he has zero dialogue. He does not say anything apart from a few grunts and umps. He does not have any dialogue, and he doesn't speak to any characters other than the occasional nodding and raising his hands to either surrender or just literally wave to someone. This is never explained. I thought that it was going to be the cliche of, oh, he was a kid here and that, but no, it's not explained why, he has the ability to, beat the shit out of these animatronics. No idea, and he is oddly prepared for it as well. Like, literally, he is weirdly prepared for it. The first time he actually encounters an animatronic, yeah, there's no questioning. He just he immediately starts beating the shit out of it. This is just something that is completely unexplained and left open, and I know what you're going to say. Oh, maybe they'll do a sequel where they'll explain. Well, it's like, no, there's like no hint at that. It just really doesn't make sense. The only reason Nicolas Cage's character, who is credited as the janitor in the credits, the only reason he gets involved in this story is because he runs over some spikes that the sheriff of the town deliberately put out there in order to, trap someone, bait someone into basically staying the night at Willy's Wonderland. And yeah, the town has a deal with Willy and his gang of killer animatronics that they'll feed them victims as long as they leave the rest of them alone. Because in this continuity, Willy and the rest of the gang can actually, escape the restaurant, which kind of begs the question of, why didn't the Lord of the Town just gang up against them? Because yes, they might not be a match individually, but together, surely. I mean, if Nicolas Cage, yeah, he's credited as the guy, but like, if Nicolas Cage can beat the shit out of all the animatronics on his own, come on. Also, for the most part, a lot of the time the animatronics go at him one by one, rather than together. Later, they go in a pair, but yeah, just like, why do they just go at him one by one? Like, after he destroys, the first animatronic, why doesn't Willy and the rest of the crew go, well, fuck this, let's just go at him all together? I really don't know why. We also have the stereotypical dumb teens in this film. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they're supposed to be teenagers. They're clearly in, their mid to late 20s. And yeah, they're incredibly annoying. But they don't really matter in the film, as most of them die pretty quickly as well. They don't really have any bearing on the plot. And the deaths in this film, I don't know, they're just so dull, really. Because, for one, I didn't give a shit about any of the characters, really, in this, apart from Nicolas Cage. And, yeah, I couldn't really care less about it, really. I mean, I was hoping maybe their deaths would be a little bit more creative, but for one, you either don't see their deaths because of either they cut away to it, or the camera work is really weird, or it's just one hit and then they're dead. Like, there are a few bits where one of the animatronics just snaps one of the characters' necks. That's done. Spoiler alert, I should mention as well, the sheriff woman, Willy, literally flings his arm at her, and that is enough to completely cut her in half. Some fucking how, apparently the claws on this Willy animatronic, yes, I know I just said that, are sharp enough to cut her in half in one swing. It's clearly a film that, I don't know, it seems like it's half wanting to take itself, seriously, and the other half it's just wanting to have fun with it. It seems like it, because there are other scenes that are, trekked very, to a more serious degree. For example, there are bits during there's a few flashback sequences in this explaining that Willy and his gang are possessed by serial killers. Which, yeah, okay, fine. Why are they serial killers? Why did they kill people in this restaurant? Fuck knows. But okay. I wouldn't be complaining about this, but literally it kind of just takes about half an hour for, stuff to properly start happening. Like, I'm not joking, the first half an hour of this film is mostly watching Nicolas Cage clean. Yeah, so if you ever want to watch Nicolas Cage cleaning up stuff, watch the first half hour of this film and you'll see quite a bit of it. Far too much of it, in fact. There's also a weird thing where, for some reason, Nicolas Cage takes a break every so often. He literally sets a stopwatch on his watch to take a break and play on a pinball machine? Okay. Like, they do literally make a joke out of this where he is literally about to fight one of the animatronics, stops, and then goes to go play pinball. I don't understand, though, why he literally doesn't speak. Literally, the girl character in this, I think she has a name, but I'm just going to call her girl character, because I literally cannot remember her name, and she doesn't really have much to do in this. Is literally shouting at him, get out of here, there are killer animatronics, but no. I honestly don't know. This film has so many bloody problems with it. But it does have its enjoyable scenes. When it is deciding to be a bit of a fun little film about Nicolas Cage killing animatronics, that is actually an enjoyable part of the film. But I think this would have been better if maybe it. I mean, to be honest, it's already low budget, so I think this would have been better as maybe a 75-minute TV movie or something along those lines. But I think 90 minutes. There's just not enough here for 90 minutes. I mean, for one, the animatronics killed most of the teenage characters off, literally one after the other. And also, the dumbest teenager, like, literally, I thought they were trying to take the piss, but no, they seem to take it seriously. Two of the teenagers who know, it's not like they're oblivious to this, they know there are killer animatronics in here, and yet they decide to just have sex in the room where the killers committed their original murders. Why? Why? I honestly don't know why. It's so fucking stupid. Like, the guy she is having sex with in the scene literally makes a point earlier, 5 minutes earlier, about not wanting to go in there because of killer animatronics. But once he's in there, he decides to have sex with his girlfriend. And then they both die. What? Why? Like, honestly, if it was meant to be a piss take, then it didn't succeed in that. And if it was meant to be, just something serious, I don't know. This film kind of goes all over the place. It really is just all over the place. Like, somewhere, there is a good killer animatronic film out of this. It is in there somewhere. But, God, this thing it kind of feels almost like, while there was YouTube Five Nights at Freddy's short films that a lot of fans have made over the years. It literally does feel like that, with maybe a little bit more budget, but honestly, it does feel like that. In fact, some of the edits kind of feel like a YouTube video. This does feel like it was just a longer, Five Nights at Freddy's YouTube video fan film. I don't know. It's just really hard. I mean, like I said, one day I probably will go over this one, because literally I would have to go through it scene by scene, because there's just so many things in this. So many things in this. I will say, though, it did keep me, watching, because, to be honest, half an hour in, I was tempted to just give up and turn it off, but thankfully at that point, it actually, got a kick up the arse and actually did start doing stuff with the animatronics, because I think it should have jumped into that a little bit earlier. I think this film really should have just embraced being absurd as possible. There are bits of that, but I think it should have just embraced that, and I think it would have been a much better film, because at the moment it's very tonally inconsistent on whether it wants to be, a creepy, scary, more serious film, or just like a dumb foot on, hey, let's kill a bunch of teenagers and Nicolas Cage can kill a bunch of animatronics. But it feels like it's kind of flip-flopping in its inconsistencies in that. So, yeah. I do kind of like, I don't know if this was supposed to be, them twisting the facts, but there is one animatronic in this who, tries to trick one of the teenagers into thinking, I'm not like the others, I'm friendly, just to draw him out, and then it kills him. I don't know if, I could be wrong on this, but I'm wondering if that is meant to be a piss take out of Foxy being a good guy in this, in the FNAF continuity, I don't know. Also, one of the animatronics, who is clearly just a woman with a head, with, a big plastic head on her, survives and decides to blow up the Willy's Wonderland's owner's car with him inside it, and presumably herself. Okay, so all the animatronics are confirmed down, and there's 8 of them. 8 of them. I think that's another problem. There are just too many animatronics in this. 8 is far too many. for this. Like, apart from Willy, I literally, all the other animatronics are pretty much just killed off as soon as they're introduced. I can't remember any of the other animatronic names. In fact, I can't even remember if they were given names or not. But, yeah. Another positive is there are a few songs in this, and I don't mean like in, you know, they break out in songs, no, but there are a few tracks that were made for this film. And I've got to be honest, they were actually pretty catchy, and I did actually quite like them. There's obviously, you know, the It's Your Birthday song, which is in the trailer. But there are a few other songs as well that I did quite like in this. So at least it has a decent soundtrack. At least it does have a decent soundtrack. And I'll also say this. I'm also glad the fact that, you know, whoever was colour grading this film didn't make all of the film look completely washed out. Which is good, because a lot of modern horror films, for some reason, seem to think that, hey, if it's got anything to do with horror whatsoever, it should be completely desaturated. This one doesn't do that, but yeah. But it is just a bit weird. Also, the killers inside who possess the animatronics, sometimes they talk and sometimes they don't. Yeah, it seems a bit weird. I think, you know, obviously the theory, I guess, behind that is they're creepier when they don't talk, but in some scenes they do talk. I don't know. I think that, you know, they should have done the fact of either they can talk as the killers or they can't. Because doing both again is a bit... I think they... in this film, I think they should have talked. I think it would have fit better. I think this film would have done much better if it just went in that, hey, let's just, you know, make it a fun, dumb film. And I think it should have gone all the way in that direction, personally. I will say, though, it is nice that they did use, you know, actual animatronics. Somewhat. There are people inside them at some points, but yeah, it is nice to see actual animatronics. For the most part, they are practical. Apart from when Nicolas Cage is fighting them, they'll randomly turn into CGI. Which, yeah, is pretty obvious. And also there are a few bits where they CGI them moving really, really quickly, which they shouldn't really be able to do if they are just animatronics. So, yeah. I think it would have been better if they didn't do that and just... I don't know. It's just hard to describe everything with this film because, God, I could literally talk about this film for hours. There is a lot to talk about with this. So, yeah, I think I'll leave everything else for maybe a review someday of this film. But would I recommend this film? Well, if you wanted to see a Five Nights at Freddy's film and are still sick of waiting for one, this one, it's alright. This one is alright. I'd say it does. If you wanted to see Nicolas Cage, you know, beating the shit out of animatronics and that, this is fine. This is fine, but it could have been a lot better. At the same time, though, it could have been a lot worse. It's kind of like in that middle ground. I think the scripts and that could have used quite a few, you know, a few rewrites. It feels more like it's an early draft that just went straight to screen. So, yeah, but I do feel that they did try with this one. Unlike the Banana Splits film. I think they did definitely at least try with this one. Unlike that film. And, you know, they did the best to their abilities. So, I guess. But the script does need at least another rewrite to flesh out the characters. Because, to be honest, I mean, Nicolas Cage's character, you know nothing about him. You basically know next to nothing about all of the characters apart from Willy just being a... The only thing you know about Willy and his gang of killers is that, hey, they kill kids and families and load them into the special room. You know, the special back room Does that sound familiar? So, yeah. Okay. But anyway, that's it for this Thoughts on Watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.